8:50, Tuesday, 24th February, talkSPORT Breakfast. Ali and Gabby with you this morning. Thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. You enjoyed it?
Yes, loved it.
Flies in, didn't it? It's great.
Some great calls
really
as
enjoyed
well.
it. Now we've got a serious story, my friend. Okay. Mexico's co-hosting of this summer's FIFA World Cup could be compromised by the eruption, and it is an eruption in drug cartel violence, which began on Sunday. It's been
incredible,
absolutely unbelievable. Now, to tell us a little bit more about this, we're pleased to say joining us now is talkSPORT reporter Ben Jacobs. Ben, very good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning.
I mean, thanks for joining us, first of all, Ben. I mean, it's quite remarkable, this story. I've actually been watching it the last 24 hours or so.
Yep.
I mean, it must seriously question whether it can go ahead in Mexico, mate.
Yeah, at the moment, FIFA's position is to monitor the situation, and the removal of games would be an absolute last resource. FIFA are adamant that it's speculative and hypothetical. The idea that they would have to consider games not being staged in Mexico, but the drug cartel-related violence is privately amongst sources cause for concern. Now, the first gauge is not going to come during the World Cup, but actually in March, when in these interconfederation playoffs, Mexico are due to host New Caledonia against Jamaica, and the winner of that game will go on to take on DR Congo on March the 31st. So naturally, if this violence continues into March and those games are seen to be unsafe, this will become a much bigger problem as far as FIFA are concerned. But of course, this is drug cartel related violence, and sources within both football and the Mexican authorities believe that this is not the norm, that it can and has already been controlled in the last 12 to 24 hours to an extent. And also there's a feeling amongst some senior officials within FIFA that this violence would not be in effect targeted to disrupt or coincide with the World Cup itself. So FIFA remain calm about the situation, and the removal of games is seen to be possible, but a very last resort.
That's incredible, Ben, because we've seen the clips of like tourists that are trapped in hotels and flights haven't even been given a new flight to come home. And you're telling me it's 4 months away, the World Cup, and the World Cup's on, everyone's going to behave, all the cartels will behave, there's not going to be any issues. Come on. If you had any sense, you wouldn't be flying to Mexico to go and watch a game. I wouldn't. Republic of Ireland play Mexico, do they? Like, you'd be having second thoughts, wouldn't you, on flying out there?
Yeah, I think that it's more if, as authorities believe, and so do FIFA and security experts seem to align with this, that those involved in this drug cartel related violence have specific aims, and ultimately they view this as a business, then the World Cup can be complementary in some ways to how they do business and how they can make money. And as a consequence, disrupting a World Cup within Mexico for whatever reason would only be logical to make perhaps a political statement and to undermine a World Cup that it's believed amongst security experts, those involved in this violence actually want. As you say, and it's a fair point, there has to be safety and security, and we have to understand whether this is continuous and volatile violence between now and 1st March and then the summer. And if so, FIFA privately accept that they would have to at least consider removing games. But if it goes away and then calms down, which is what everyone's focused on, the feeling is that it would be unlikely to return come summer, because actually the World Cup would benefit those that are currently involved in this current very volatile and disturbing violence.
It's a funny one, but we're not funny. But funny peculiar, Ben, because I've been lucky. I think I've been to about six, whatever it be, 5, 6, 7 World Cups. And generally speaking, they're probably the safest places on the planet when the World Cup's on because of security. Whether it's Russia, South Africa, Qatar, all these places who aren't without the problems. But generally when you go there, you feel safe. But there's just something about this, Ben, I think's a little bit different. You hear stories and you watch these things about the drug cartels. Never mind FIFA, Ben. What if some of the countries who are playing in these cities didn't fancy it? How would that be perceived and how would that be received?
Yeah, I think if a country felt unsafe, then they would make that complaint to FIFA, and naturally it would be taken very seriously. So that's a very interesting scenario where this is taken out of the hands of Mexico or FIFA because a country scheduled to play there says, I don't want to go, it's not worth the risk. Or even potentially if they're training there, that they're no longer interested because of safety and security. So any football federation involved, whether on the periphery or playing in Mexico, is also going to look at this. And that's where it's out of FIFA's hands to an extent. And it becomes very important that the federal government sends an appropriate number of effectively army personnel. So the Mexican army are going to play a huge part in this World Cup, regardless of this latest cartel violence. And in Guadalajara, especially in the metropolitan areas, they are going to have to convince any teams involved in FIFA that this is going to be a safe World Cup. And if they can't, then there could be a big problem.
Wow.
And just a quick one, mate. We also received news that Gianluca Pristiani will be suspended for tomorrow night's Champions League playoff second leg against Real Madrid. And Benfica following the incident of alleged racism towards Vinicius Junior in the previous leg. Anything else on that, mate? Any more you can tell us?
Yeah, so what I can tell you is two things. The first, Jose Mourinho, who is suspended for the second leg after being sent off after the incident, is not expected to carry out any media in the build-up. And Benfica plan to appeal, and they might even bring Pristiani within their official squad party.
Wow.
But sources indicate there is basically no time to successfully appeal. And as a consequence, this provisional one-match ban stands. Pristiani is not expected to be part of the second leg against Real Madrid. UEFA's Ethics and Disciplinary Committee have moved very quickly. Obviously, now they're analysing all of the footage further to determine what other action they could potentially take. But there's an official kind of legal process here, and the next step in that is the Benfica appeal. But Real Madrid and Vinicius Junior will see this as vindication of what they argue has happened, which was horrible and horrific racist comments that forced Vinicius to go to the referee and the players to briefly
What about Mourinho, Ben? Because obviously he's suspended as well. He got that red card. Is he going to be allowed in the stadium? Because I can't see Real Madrid being very polite to an ex-manager after his comments.
Yeah, Mourinho is suspended, as you say. The protocol, as you no doubt know, is that he can't be in the touchline, but he can be in the stadium. And under UEFA rules, he can't be prevented from that. So Mourinho expected to attend, but not, it's anticipated to do any pre-match media. But it'd be a big surprise if he's not in the Bernabeu at all.
Ben, just a quick one, mate. I mean, you say that official legal proceedings have still to take place, right? And I get all that. And I get this, the importance and the seriousness of the matter. But have UEFA not already prejudged these legal proceedings by saying he can't play in the game?
Well, remember, it's not UEFA because it's an independent body. So UEFA hear the complaint from Vinicius Junior and Real Madrid. They then appoint an independent ethics investigator effectively, and the decision is taken based upon the evidence that they've looked at, that it requires a one-match provisional ban. They can use lip readers, they obviously have audio, they have all the different testimonies, and a bit like a drugs ban, when you fail your A test whilst waiting for the B test, you're positive and you're banned, and that's the protocol. And Benfica are unlikely to be able to appeal in time.
I'm just thinking though, Ben, I'm thinking a week's a long time. They could have maybe got the legal proceedings underway and finished and given whatever punishment if he's found guilty, you know, rather than do something and keep it going and keep it going. But I do take your point that, you know, the seriousness of the matter is.
Do you think as well, Ali and Ben, that they've looked at it and said this game is going to be watched by millions of people? There won't be a handshake. It's going to be maybe a game where, like, do you know what I mean? The sort of fouls that will be taking place because of the seriousness of the alleged racial abuse. Maybe they've looked at that, Ben, and says, maybe it's the right decision to just take him away from this game. And then
I know we're tight for time, so just briefly on that. Again, it's not UEFA looking at it. It's not UEFA thinking about the magnitude of the match. It's an independent person and committee.
You're right to reassure us with that one. You're absolutely right, mate. Ben, brilliant, mate. There's never a dull moment, pal. Never a dull moment. Thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Cheers.